Coronavirus cases in Australia are increasingly being concentrated in just a few locations. This shows you the percentage of Australia's new cases over time that have come from just 3 clusters: the Tasmanian outbreak, the Newmarch House aged care home and the Cedar Meats abattoir in Melbourne. In the last week, more than half of Australia's cases have come from these clusters, mostly that abattoir outbreak. We are seeing we're seeing new records being set for testing now, 3 days in a row, 38,000 tests done yesterday, and hopefully that'll make it easier to catch these outbreaks earlier, particularly as people start to move around more and more. The ACT was the first to move on Friday's roadmap path through this crisis. Here's the ACT's curve. Very few cases now for several weeks. Territorians took the most of their newfound freedoms yesterday, so much so that the government actually stepped in to issue a reminder that yes, the social distancing rules do in fact still apply. Now, like most transport systems around the world, Territorians really did abandon the ACT's light rail in mid-March. But if we have a look just at the last month or so and zoom in on that, we are starting to see some signs of increased activity. On Friday, 3,300 people took a ride on the light rail in Canberra, and David, that's 30% higher than the Friday before.
And Casey, take us through what's been happening in some of the countries that were a bit slower to act in imposing any restrictions when this pandemic first hit.
Yeah, David, let's talk you through 3 countries today. First, Jakarta's governor has said that the pandemic in Indonesia is far worse than the national government would have you believe. And he's got some evidence on his side. We've got now final figures for funerals held in April. So far this year, the number of funerals held in Jakarta is 3,000 more than you might expect to see in a typical year. And that's far worse than the official numbers would suggest. Indonesia recorded its first official case of coronavirus in early March. The curve is climbing, and overnight it's recorded a daily record, 530 new cases found in a single day. It's a similar story in Brazil. The curve is still climbing there, and we're seeing record levels of cases, 11,000 a day, and now a record 827 deaths in a single day as well. The medical journal The Lancet has just called President Jair Bolsonaro the single biggest threat getting in the way of Brazil's COVID-19 response. And one more country, David, there's reports out now that the United Kingdom is about to impose a mandatory quarantine period on everyone entering the country. If they do, it would be a less strict version of what Australia imposed 6 weeks ago.